Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call tonight's special board meeting to order. Today is Thursday, October 27, 2011. We're going to have the village board meeting first, followed by our committee of the whole meeting. It looks like it's about, what, 7:07 p.m.? Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mrs. Booth, would you please call the roll?
Present.
Mr. Novak?
Present.
Mr. Perry?
Present.
Mr. Sloan?
Present.
Mr. Stecker?
Present.
Mr. Mr. Polio?
Present. Do we have a quorum? Item number 4, presentations. Chief Padlick? Is Ms. April here?
Down here right now. Yeah.
All right, I didn't know if you wanted me to do it or you to do it. Okay.
You gotta do the proclamation.
Okay, all right. The item is a proclamation for Red Ribbon Week, and we have a proclamation. The week of October 22nd to 30th, 2011 is Red Ribbon Week. Whereas the Village of Westchester values the health and safety of all of our citizens, and whereas substance abuse is particularly damaging to one of our most valuable resources, our children, and a contributing factor in the 3 leading causes of death for teenagers are accidents, homicides, and suicides. And whereas it is the goal of Red Ribbon Week and the Village of Westchester to involve families, schools, businesses, churches, law enforcement agencies, and service organizations in all aspects of this campaign and establish an atmosphere that supports awareness, education, and ongoing initiatives to prevent illegal drug use. And whereas the Red Ribbon Week campaign theme promotes family and individual responsibility for living healthy, drug-free lifestyles without illegal drugs or the illegal use of legal drugs. And whereas there are many activities planned during Red Ribbon Week campaign in the Village of Westchester. Whereas the village president of the Village of Westchester deems it appropriate to designate the week of October 22 to 30, 2011 as Red Ribbon Week in Westchester, Illinois. Therefore, be it proclaimed that the president of the Village of Westchester do hereby honor Red Ribbon Week, designating October 22nd to the 30th, 2011 Red Ribbon Week in Westchester, Illinois. Proclaimed today, the 27th of October, 2011. Signed by me, the president of the Village of Westchester, and attested by our clerk. So with that being said, Miss April, would you like to share some of the things that are happening this week and maybe a little history about Red Ribbon Week?
Thank you, Mr. President. Red Ribbon Week began in 1985 when a DEA agent, Enrique Camarena, was working undercover in Mexico. He was kidnapped and brutally tortured and murdered, and as a result of that, his family and other law enforcement decide to honor him, and the message in schools now is that law enforcement and the community is there to keep our students drug-free. In the meantime, all this week, officers from our department have been meeting at all the grade schools here in Westchester, visiting with the students and reinforcing that message.
Okay, I do recall as a police officer, we used to have a photograph, and I'm sure the chief knows this one very well, of a youth who over the course of a year went from probably a very handsome young man to a man that looked probably 50 plus years of age and all drawn. I don't know if we still have that picture in the police department, but I think that's one, unfortunately, I don't know where he is presently, but it was a very, very sad thing. Actually, I was telling Janet earlier this evening that a person that's very close to me has 2 sons, one in rehab and one was just discovered to be involved with the illegal use of heroin. And I can't imagine as a parent I had so much empathy for her, you know, how to deal with that as a parent and going through the rehabilitation process, the theft of tens of $1,000s of money, and the credit cards that were stolen out of purses and things of that nature, that my heart bled for her today on the ride back from Springfield. I had that conversation that was hearing that, you know, she's got that problem. I'm sure she's not alone in all of this, and I would think that that the young kids that are out there of whatever age, high school, college, even adult, would kind of really rethink the use of drugs and the abuse of even prescription drugs, as I don't see anything good coming out of it. And many a life has been broken, and as the proclamation says, the amount of suicides and things of that nature just seem to be going up exponentially every year, and it's a sad thing. So I'm very pleased that the chief has saw fit to continue the Red Ribbon program, and that we are trying to do our best through the programs we have in Westchester to keep the youths of the community on the right path. So thank you, Miss April. Item number 5, public comments and questions. Those that might have comment or question, there's time now, and certainly in the Committee of the Whole meeting as well, to have a comment before the board. Please step up in front, introduce yourself to our clerk with your address on that so she can get it in the minutes, and fire away.
3 minutes.
Not now, okay. Anything, anybody? Okay. Item number 6, public hearing. I don't believe there is any this evening, is that correct? Consent agenda, we have A, B, small I, 2 little i's, and C. Does anybody need anything pulled?
And D also.
And D.
You don't have a D on
I don't
yours.
have a D.
The new one was probably placed out.
I have a D. Okay.
What's the D item?
D is an ordinance amending the number of liquor licenses issued by the Village of Westchester.
This must be the old one.
I'd like to have the minutes to regular board meeting of September 27th, 2011 pulled.
Okay, anything with the other ones? The Committee of the Whole? Anything else? Okay, so on our consent agenda, so we're clear, we have the record of bills, the meeting to be approved of the Committee of the Whole, the September 27th, Resolution C, the authorization of waiving the bids and purchasing of a V-Box salt from a distributor from Flink, and an ordinance amending the number of liquor licenses issued by the Village of Westchester, and I believe that is the one for the new owners of JD's.
That's correct.
10147 on Roosevelt Road. Okay, is there a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda with the exception of the regular board meeting minutes of September 27th?
So moved.
Second.
Brian and Wally?
No. No.
Oh, Paul. I'm sorry. Paul and Wally? Okay, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay. Item number I, is there a motion and a second for the approval of the regular meeting minutes of September 27, 2011? Motion by?
So moved.
Wally? And Brian? Okay, Wally, you had a question on those, sir.
Yes, on the second page of the minutes, right under the sentence with trustee Gattuso, it had trustee Novak reported that the township approved the personal locator program and will help with the funding. More details will follow. Actually, that was trustee Sloan.
Okay, and I think you
And I did email.
You did email it. I thought I did
yes.
see that correction to be made. So let's let the record reflect the correct person who brought that forward. Is there any other corrections to those minutes?
Mr. President, as long as you're on that same set of minutes, in the President's report, there's the last sentence in the first paragraph states that Attorney Storino's mother passed away suddenly. I know his name is spelled S-T-O-R-I-N-O, so
correct that as well. Okay, with the corrections being made, anything else? There's a motion and a second on the floor by Wally and Brian for approval. Any other discussion? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition? Say nay. It passes as well. On the active agenda, resolution appointing an alternate delegate to IRMA. Did we have something in our packet regarding that? And who is the person?
Janet.
Okay. Okay, so it looks like that we lost a alternate delegate to IRMA, and that Janet Mattheis has stepped up to the plate to be that alternative delegate. Is there a motion and a second to approve that resolution?
So moved.
Who was the
I'll
first?
second.
There you go.
Frank
and
Yeah.
Brian.
Frank and Brian. Okay. Janet, tag, you're it. All those in favor of that appointment, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, Janet, one more thing for you to do.
Great, thanks.
Okay, I believe item number B on the active agenda is an action regarding employee separation agreement.
Mr. President, this matter, I believe, is going to be the subject of an executive session, so if we could defer this agenda item until that executive session takes place, and I would assume, as has been the practice, we'll take that up after the committee of the whole, if that's the board's pleasure. So, no, you just need to defer action on it, so skip
The
it.
recommendation by our attorney is to defer action on item number B until after the executive session. Anyone have a problem with that, the deference?
Nope.
Anyone? No, okay, that item will be deferred, 8B, to after the committee of the whole executive session under number 9 on the COW. Interim manager report? Why don't you tell us what you've been doing for the last couple of weeks?
I've been sitting with my feet up, relaxing in the office. No, I accepted the board's opportunity to function as interim village manager until such time as they can fill the position on a full-time basis. So I appreciate the board's support and staff support in accomplishing that and juggling these two positions for a few months here. So we'll keep things moving forward.
Do you yell at yourself for spending too much at the finance, the manager?
We don't overspend our budget.
Yeah, she's got that trait from you, so.
Doctor, no.
Okay, our attorney, Mr. Durkin.
I'll reserve that for the executive session, thank you.
Any board members have any reports or any new business to share? Wally? Green Committee or something else?
Actually, the Green Committee, and just to make a comment, Green Committee met, and we met on the 20th. Ended up talking about some projects that we're going to start. We've had about 6 to 7 of them, and kind of said, okay, we're going to narrow it down to 3, and we'll make after our next meeting, we'll make a presentation to the board on what we're working on. So, moving forward on that. Also like to compliment both our chiefs on a well-done open house. A lot of people attended. It was a nice day, and I was very impressed and very learned a few things. One, never turn your back on an officer holding a taser. But it was very good. Compliments to on that. Well done.
Frankie, anything from EDC?
The EDC is currently meeting with officials from South Holland, their EDC committee. I think they're meeting in the training room over by the firehouse right now. The class that's going on at UIC, they're going to be doing a walkthrough. So far, it's set for around January 20th, 21st. Their midterm class will start around March 5th. That's when they're going to start doing the economic development portion of their class. And that's just about it. We talked a little bit about the farmers market, and we're supposed to be meeting with Burr Ridge's farmers market management person to see if we could get something going in our town too.
Good. Paulie, anything on special?
We talked to Dr. Suchi for the Fun Fest,
You did, good, thank
He will get back to me. I tried to set up a meeting for him on Wednesday. Him and Gary were not available for that, for us to meet with them. He did promise me he will call me first thing Monday and get me a date that we can sit down and go over stuff from the fest, so. I did jump all over it and, you know, trying to get our schedules together, but hopefully it'll be maybe this Wednesday, okay?
Anything else? Nick, Brian, anything to share? Board President report. I'll keep it brief. I just got back from Springfield today. I was down at the veto session Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I have to say that watching the House, I was in the House more than the Senate, that I'm glad that that this board and other boards of organized things, a school district, library, and park do not operate like the House. I found it very disconcerting sitting up in the audience watching the different representatives not paying attention to people that were talking and had the floor, discussing bills. We're walking around, I saw other people voting for other people, you know. I thought I was in a cafeteria, to be quite honest with you. The man had a gavel. It wasn't Mr. Madigan, there was another representative in there. But I found it, as a sitting official, knowing how we operate in our boards, that it would be like if Nick or Frankie went back there and had a private conversation while we're discussing an issue. Now, granted, I'm sure that some of the issues are already decided by party line or wherever they're gonna go, but I think that they could have done that a whole lot better, especially with the number of people that were there. Some of the issues that were talked about were the Commonwealth Edison issue, which I'm sure everybody knows that had passed. First in the Senate, overrode by one vote. They needed 36. I think they got 37. And also in the House as well. So that did pass. There was a trailer bill. I attended actually the executive session prior to the meetings where they talked about the ComEd CEO, who's now a female. I think her name was Ann something. I didn't meet her, but I was told later that that's who that was. Presented their piece, the trailer bill, the 2,000 jobs up here, another about 500 down south. Some of the oversight was discussed. I don't know if he was the president of the ICC. He was obviously against the rate increase or the potential rate increase that we're probably going to get hit with $3. ComEd said that, you know, basically you may be able to recoup that based on the grid work and whatever that's going to go on. They were promising to take care of a lot of the infrastructure. They got $2.5 or $6 billion invested in this over a 10-year period. If they don't reach some of their marks, there's penalties put into that trailer bill, into the ultimate bill. Ultimately, it passed. So whether you like it or for it or against it or whatever, it did pass. And I had conversation with the ComEd representatives that were here, Mr. Guerra and that, and I said, bless you, what you really need to do is make sure that you're visible in all these communities and start doing the replacements like you're supposed to be doing, fixing this and fixing that. And they basically said that is their plan. But again, it's a 10-year plan, and we'll see. The bond rates are low, so they have a new formula as far as how they're going to get money to sell their bonds, and certainly they're a for-profit company, and ultimately it passed. So at the end of the day, all the hype, the news media, and everybody was there. It is going to go into effect as the governor's override was had. There were a bunch of pension things up there, but nothing really that I saw. I was trying to go between two houses, the House and the Senate, and watch what was going on back and forth, and got pretty dizzy. There were certainly a number of groups there protesting cuts and things of that nature that the governor had out there that they wanted to see back in, some social service situations teacher things. So there was a lot of action, whether you were part of the committee sessions, which I tried to go to as many as I could since I got there. I met with a number of the police and fire organizations as well and listened to what that they had to say about some of the changes that were going forward. There's one I'm not prepared to talk about tonight, but it has to do with the if our EAV goes down, that there's something being talked about, but I don't want to give out any bad information. So when I get that information, yes, that I'll share that with the board, but I don't want to speak about it. I don't want to say it wrong. Additionally, I did receive information from the Broadview Westchester Water Agency. We're supposed to have a meeting today. However, it had to get canceled. But the Department of Water Management of the City of Chicago sent this letter on October 19th, 2011 to the Broadview Westchester Joint Water Agency, and I'll certainly get you a copy of this. We are writing to notify you that last week the City of Chicago's 2012 budget was introduced to Chicago City Council. Please be advised that this budget includes a 4-year water rate increase as follows. January 1, 2012, 25%.
25%.
January 1, 2013, 15. January 1, 2014, 15. And January 1, 2015, 15%. If you, and I'll get a copy of this for everybody. And there's associated documents.
You said January 1st, correct?
January 1, 2012. There's some other documents here that talked about suburban water customers, and I'll get that to you as well via email. If you've been following in the news, I think the only thing that you've seen in the city of Chicago is different revenue streams from a host of different things, whether it be speed cameras in school zones, water rate increases, getting a water meter, because the majority of the homes in the city of Chicago do not have meters. They get some type of estimated bill, and they're trying to get a handle on that as well and have some programs for those people to get meters as well. So, you know, their infrastructure, which, you know, is in some cases as old as ours, needs to be upgraded, and that's kind of the information that they'll be sending to us, or why they need this. So at the end of the day, as you know, last year I don't think we were hit with an increase at all. But the 4 years prior to that, we had like a 14, 15, and 3 years, 14, 15, and 15.
Yeah.
So we had like 44%, if I'm correct, over those years of their thing. So this is certainly going to have an effect on us, and it's just to put in our heads as we move forward with this as well. Again, going back to Springfield, I would encourage all of us. I mean, there's veto session is, I guess, the 8th, 9th, and 10th of November. If you, you know, and I really didn't have a handle on how it all operates and the amendments and the bills and whatever. If you really want to get a look at what the state government is all about, I would encourage you to spend those 3 days down there and go find a tree and hang yourself, because that's pretty much where you're at. But crazy. But I will say one thing. I talked to Representative Nybo, who represents us, and I told him this to his face. He and a few of the representatives that I saw were very, very diligent. Chris barely moved from his chair. He was on every vote. He voted his conscience no matter what the issue was. And I did compliment him when I saw him after the fact that, you know, that he wasn't a butterfly and was listening attentively to all the speakers. And I have to say it was he represented us well by his demeanor and the way he handled himself on the House floor. So I did say that. Okay, that's it for me. Executive session, we have none. there a motion and a second to adjourn the regular?
We're not
board
going to adjourn, we're going to recess
Recess.
until the conclusion of the committee of the
There
whole
we go.
meeting. And then we're going to come back into session
Is there
on
a
the regular
motion and a
meeting.
second to-
So moved.
Nick,
Second.
who was the second? Frankie.
Actually, all you have to do is just declare the recess as the chair, and then we'll come back to
Well,
this
then I
meeting.
will declare the recess, and we'll come back after our executive